Creating a television show about Iowa food and the people who celebrate it while also discovering clever ways to prepare it is an incredible experience. And there is a lot that goes into it. So get ready because we are about to dunk you headfirst into the somewhat hectic but always fulfilling world of Iowa ingredient as we go behind the scenes. 3, 2, and now I'm in the kitchen with Chef Tom, and what are we going to do?
We're going to make
Iowa Ingredient is a local show produced right here at Iowa Public Television by Iowans, and it's got one central star of the show, something we all appreciate and visit with every day, and that's food.
Comes right out.
Beautiful! Melon and parsnips.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, that's a little messy. Sorry.
It's a cooking show, it's kind of a foodie show, but it's really just a vehicle to be able to tell stories about Iowa and Iowans and our resourcefulness here in our state.
More than one ear. Yeah.
I am an Iowa girl. I spent the first 5 years of my life in central Iowa, in Ogden, Iowa, actually right outside of Ogden. And then we moved to Cedar Falls, Iowa. For me, it was the summer between kindergarten and first grade. And so I grew up in Cedar Falls, and I graduated from Cedar Falls High School. And I went to Iowa State University. And I did move away from the state for a while, for actually 10 years. But for at least 5 of those years, I was trying to figure out a way to get home. And now I am.
Cozy up.
All right.
Smile. Energy.
Okay.
We'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And now we are in the kitchen with Jay, and
Charity Nebby's a perfect host for this show. She's so genuine and so warm, and that really comes through on camera. The viewer can totally see that. And she's kind of like the girl next door, you know, who might ask the questions you would ask if you were in the kitchen with that chef or on the farm with that farmer or producer.
We'll try it.
She's just got this natural, infectious love of Iowa, and that really comes through, and she's just a pure pleasure to work with.
All right, and so at the beginning, I look at the camera briefly, and then I turn to you, and after that, neither one of us is supposed to look at the camera.
All right.
I have to say that I am not much of a cook, which may surprise a lot of people. My husband does 90% of the cooking in our house, and I love that. I think that's just wonderful. And there are a number of recipes that I've just loved, and I thought, I will make this. The wonderful pumpkin bread pudding that Melissa Friedhoff-Rogers from Ross's Restaurant made. I made that, and that's going to be a holiday tradition at our house. That is just, it's really rich, it's really decadent, but it is so delicious. Iowa ingredient. Okay. We're in the kitchen now. So when you watch an episode of Iowa Ingredient, it's all about one ingredient. You see me do the introduction, and then you see the producer profile and the restaurant profile and the cooking segment and the on the side, and then I say goodbye. But all of those pieces are shot separately.
They're so yummy. Look how red they are.
Because we want to feature ingredients at the peak of their growing season, at the peak freshness, we're shooting throughout the year. So sometimes we'll be recording something in May for trout, then something else in October for walnuts. So we're guaranteeing we're getting them at the peak of when you want to see them growing. And because we're Iowa Public Television, we want to get across the state and show how amazing Iowa is as a food producer. So in 1 week, we could literally be across the state, in Dubuque one day and Shenandoah the next, meeting really interesting farmers, interesting growers who are doing amazingly innovative things with food. Sometimes the best part of my job, the most special part of my job, is going out with Charity and the other producers and recording the intros and exits to the show. We find some of the most spectacular and beautiful places in Iowa. Rolling hills, scenic wooded areas, beautiful gardens even. Anytime we get to go out, it's just always a perfect day. Sometimes it's just the most beautiful weather possible, the most beautiful scenery possible. It just makes my job that much better.
Yay! Okay, that's a wrap. You gotta be over here, sweetie. It's okay, he's not gonna attack you with that camera. We try to find something that fits the episode. So I'll stand on a raspberry farm or in front of a herd of cattle, in the middle of a herd of goats. That was really the highlight for the upcoming season. We usually have a pretty good time, although I don't have a teleprompter, so the scripts that I do on the show, I have to memorize and then repeat, and I'm a much better memorizer early in the day than I am by the end of the day. That's a lot harder. And prepare their own catfish and bass that they catch from rivers and lakes. Sorry. Uses a delicate balance between chemistry and art. Why can't I get past that? I'm so sorry. And even car tires have experience helps a lot too. Maytag derailed. I'm so sorry. Also, memorable metaphors like, in fact, in ancient times, only the leaves were eaten until and a delightful addition to many appetizers. You were rolling, right? By the end of the day, when I'm completely exhausted and can't memorize things very well, is usually, it's such a golden period of light. It's a time of day when the light is just beautiful, but also the sun is moving very rapidly. So there's all this pressure to memorize and deliver and then move so the sun's on you again and then deliver the line again. And then, you know what, let's just skip and do the next one and we'll come back and do that one. And it gets extremely stressful and, and exciting at the end. We seem to like that adrenaline. Okay, I'm ready now. Better do it fast. It's your kitchen? That's beautiful. No, that is not. So while the ice cream is...
The taping of the kitchen studio segments is what I like to call organized chaos.
Yeah, so you can
There's just a ton of stuff going on. It's a little less pressure for Charity at this point. She can ask questions and keep the conversation going, but the pressure is really on the chefs.
That's been 20 minutes already? Wow.
Time flies on TV, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, everyone does amazing. We've never had a bad chef.
Got a Pharaoh on there.
They have 2 hours of prep time and kitchen time to get it right, and they always get it right.
The cooking is fantastic. It's always an exciting time.
It's chaotic because we're taping several chefs in one day.
But at the same time, it always pays off in the end where we have an amazing cooking segment for the viewer to watch.
Yay! I cut you off there, sorry. There are a lot of really little details that take a lot of time and a lot of attention. And that whole, you know, when that segment hits the air, it can be maybe 10 minutes tops. That's one of the longest we've ever done. And 2 recipes at least in there. And we've spent at least 2 hours between all of the prep and the actual shooting and putting that together. And then many, many more hours later in the editing room, piecing all the pieces of the puzzle together. So a lot of effort goes into that little segment.
Confit à l'orange.
Thank you very much, Chef Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
The chefs come in from all over the state. We have a prep kitchen in back, so somebody's working to get all of their food ready. And then we come out onto the set kitchen. We talk it through. We talk through exactly what we're going to do. We put everything in the places where it's going to be. And then we get all ready, and then we stand there for 10 or 15 minutes while we wait for everything else to be ready. And then we shoot the cooking segment. Right, if you need to be in. It did. Oh my gosh, I can't move though. one of the few chefs we have with those are fancy.
I felt so nervous.
Continuity is a big part of the show, of the cooking section of the show, because in cooking, there's a lot of stopping and starting.
Should I
for a
open the
close-up.
oven with my left hand and move this way with lots of energy? Yeah, I didn't
We have
do
to
that.
make sure things are picking up where they should so that when we edit it all together, it's smooth and seamless. Okay, Charity, you're gonna be swirling the butter in your left hand. Suman, you have that chicken in your left hand, and you're salt and peppering still with your right hand. So just Teresa Knight is a producer on the show, and on the cooking segment taping days, she's our floor director. So we're all on headsets. I'm out in the truck with some of the crew. Teresa's back in the studio with other crew, so we can all communicate. And Teresa's kind of that continuity master out there. She keeps everything under control because when you're taping a cooking segment, you really have to pay attention to the details.
All right, I think we're ready for the chicken.
Sorry, we're having a microphone issue. It's not
We're gonna take a moment here. All the pieces of the puzzle come together in the end, but there's a lot of, wait, stop. Was that there? Oh, you weren't holding that spoon. Can you put that spoon down? And then sometimes there are things you can't redo because the food looks different. If it's cooked, those onions did not look like that in the last shot, but there's nothing we can do about that. They've taught me to never do anything until they tell me to do it.
Oh, okay. I'm happy to do that.
Like, no.
Charity makes sure we don't scare the chefs too much with all of our crazy details.
No, that was great. No, it was wonderful.
That was almost a disaster.
No, it wasn't. So I'll look at the camera for like 4 seconds, and then I'll look at you, and then we pretend that they're not even there, except when they yell at us for moving stuff. Don't touch that! They do that.